Hi, thank you for joining this session. Today we are going to learn about Flutter programming. In Flutter, you can develop app for mobile. You can also develop app for website. Like you can create full website within the Flutter app. Okay. To start with the Flutter, you need to go to this website called flutter.dev. Are you seeing my screen? Not full one. Let me share you the full screen. Yeah, can you see it now? Right? Yeah. Okay, so from here you can go to flutter.dev and then install the Flutter SDK. So there are multiple ways to install the Flutter SDK. Okay, you can use your Android Studio, or you can use Visual Studio Code, or you can use IntelliJ editor, or any editor of your choice which is supporting the Flutter SDK. So in Flutter you can install on Windows, you can install on Mac, Linux, or Chrome OS. Okay, so if you go through this website, it will tell you how to set up the full editor, and I am using the Android Studio. Android Studio is based on the IntelliJ, so either you can use Android Studio or IntelliJ. And here is the process. How do you install it? I have already installed it on my system, and I hope you might have already installed, right? Let me open my Android Studio, and then we can proceed on this. So as you know, last time we had developed the Dart program. So similarly, I am using the same setup, and after installing the Flutter SDK, you will get an option to create a Flutter project in your Android Studio, right? So you can see this option here, right? Create new Flutter project. So if I click on this option, and then it will ask you couple of questions. Where is your SDK? So I have installed my SDK onto this folder. Then it will ask my project name. So you can give any project name, but you have to remember this project name should be all in small letters. So I will say Flutter sample app, and description you can say Flutter app for training. And this organization name is, you can think it as a application ID that will be used for Android and iOS application. So typically this is like, say you are having a company name with the company website, say google.com. So you will be using this organization in the reverse order, like com.google. So I will be using com.pejwar. This is my own website like pejwar.com, and here I will say sample app. And below down you can see there are different language supports: Java, Kotlin, Objective C, Swift. So I want to use Java, and in iOS you can use whatever you are comfortable with, but our focus for this training is only on the Flutter. So for the options, I'm just selecting Java here, Swift here, and this Android is selected, iOS selected. I can say web also I want to develop, and then I can say finish. Once you say finish, it will start creating this project. So what it will be doing internally is that it will be using some sort of template that will generate the sample code. So in Android Studio, I am not sure how familiar you are, but I wanted to explain this so that you will get it better. So in this Android Studio, on the right side what you see is the code. This panel is called editor, text editor, where you are writing your own code. On the left side you are having different options. So on the first one, if you click, it will be your project structure. In the project structure you see different folders, different files, and then you have a resource manager. In resource manager you can manage the resource like images and layouts and multiple things here. And on the bottom you will see my code structure. This structure is nothing but all the classes and variables available in this class. So every project will have a class, and a single file can contain multiple class. So this you see, this is a method, my app, this is a class, C is denoting a class. Then I have another class called my home page, and I have one more class called underscore my home page state. I will explain you about this. I am just explaining you about the Android Studio part right now. Then you are having a favorites. In favorites you can bookmark the things or put a breakpoint. For example, I want to put a breakpoint on say line number 4, and then when I come and see, I can see this breakpoint has been added here. Okay, or you can do different, say you can set a bookmark also here, and if I set a bookmark you can see that tick and it will come here. Why you need a bookmark and breakpoints? Breakpoint you need for debugging, and bookmark you need for if you want to come back to that code and remember, okay, I wanted to do something. So this is one way. Other way is that you can write here comment, say this might have a bug, right, and then you want to come back and fix it, but you will forget then what you had written, so you can mark it as a bookmark, so it will be mentioned on the left side. Otherwise, if you remember this string, then you can search in the code and you can reach here. Okay, so here we can say clear bookmark, breakpoint not there, and okay, we'll go on the top. Here what all options you see for to develop your mobile application, you need to understand this Android Studio thoroughly, otherwise you will get stuck because you don't know where to go and see the options. So the first icon is like open file or project. Second one is like saving whatever you are editing in the code, you can save it, all the files, you can open multiple files, like here multiple tabs will open. Then this is like navigation that you can do between the tabs. And this is the device selector, that what kind of device you want to select, like Chrome, this is my Android phone, or you can have a iOS simulator. If I connect my iPhone, I will get a iPhone also here. The second one you see is the project that you want to run it. Okay, then third one comes up once you are having a connected device that is supported by this project. This small little play icon is the run icon. If you click on this, Android Studio will build your application and run it. After that you see a small bug. This bug sign is for debugging your application. I will explain you later why you need to debug your application. Okay, then this is for if you want to connect to Flutter application which is already running on the phone, so that you can debug it, and this is for any Android application you want to connect with. This one is for AVD manager, is for managing your virtual device like simulator or emulator from here, mainly for the Android thing. This is SDK manager. If you click on this, you will see there are different versions of the Android that you can download from here. So if you are having, you can run multiple emulator in this. So say I want to run to support Android 12, or I want to support very old version of say Android Lollipop, I can select from here and then install it and then use it. Okay, and so this application is generated automatically. Typically it will generate it for you also, but what is more important in this, that you have to understand what it is doing. Okay, so what is the main point in the Flutter as a Flutter application structure is that as soon as you see this file structure, you will find the one file called pubspec.yaml. We called it YAML. So this is the YAML file. It is a configuration file for your whole project. In this you define what is your project name, what is the description? This is the information that we put while creating the application. Now you will see some line starting with the hash. These are the comments. Comments are only meant for human being, not for the machine. So those are not being used for compilation. Now if we go down, this application version, so this is the version of your application, not the Flutter version. Now you see the environment. So this environment is for like which SDK version you need to use. So this is a Flutter SDK version, which should be greater than 2.7.0 and less than 3.0.0. okay. And what is need, what is the dependency? It depends on the Flutter, because this pub spec is a general file. It don't know whether it's a Flutter or anything. So we are saying here this we are using a Flutter. So we are defining a Flutter, which SDK it is a Flutter SDK. Now this Cupertino icons, why we are having Cupertino icons? Cupertino comes from the Apple background. So whenever we build for iOS, so iOS is having a different set of icons. In Android we call it as a material icons. So this is for iOS, and this is for when you are writing a test cases. This is for advanced level, when you know how to write a program, then to test your own program you will be writing a code that will be testing your own code. Okay. Now here the Flutter configuration comes in. So in the Flutter you are using material design. So this material design is designed by Google, so that you will have a uniform user experience across the device. That's why we call it material design. Okay. Once we go down, we don't see anything. Now suppose you want to use any third party libraries, somebody already built it for you, so you can go and add it here in their dependency section, and then you can use them directly. I will show on that part also later on. Now there is another file called readme. This readme is specific to your project. You can write whatever you want to write in this about your project. So we can delete everything and say this project will help you in understanding Flutter programming. Okay, so this is for when you are submitting your project to GitHub or in some repository. So when new people will be reading your code, they will know what does this project will do. Okay, so we got this. Then this IML file, it is generated by Android Studio. If you are using a Visual Studio Code, you might have a different file. These are some internal files, and now you will see Android folder, iOS folder and web folder. So these are platform specific folders. In the Android you will have a Android specific code. So all the things related to Android will be in this. All the code related to iOS will be in this, because you know we are writing in Dart. So this main.dart file is there, but this Dart file may not be understood by Android and iOS. So what we need is that there needs to be a platform that will convert this code into Android and iOS code. For that only we need to have this full project, because Android cannot run a Dart file directly. It needs to have in its own structure. So I will tell you the main point in this. In the Android this is one very important file, build.gradle. This defines what kind of system it will be using, from where it need to download files. So here you see the class path. This is a Gradle system. So in Android we build the files using Gradle build system. Okay, and these are the repositories from where you can download the dependencies. Now this Gradle build system required a Gradle folder, in that it will have its own dependencies. Now code, where is the code for Android? So it will come inside the app folder. In the app again you are having another build.gradle. So outside one build.gradle is called project level, and inside one is called app level. So this is for the app. This is basically module level. Our module name is app. This is called module name, and you will see a 3 folder in this: debug, main and profile. actual code will reside in the main. Inside main you will see Java folder, and here what name I had given, like com.pagebar.sample app. So it created that folder structure, and then you are having a main Java main activity.java. This is the class that will get run on very first launch. So here you see this Flutter activity. Internally this Flutter activity will be using this file that is defined in the Dart file, main.dart. Whatever is in the main.dart will come based on this file. Okay, so this is the only one file currently you are seeing in the Android project, and other important file in this is Android manifest. This file define how your application will look like application icon, what is the application icon, what is the application name. If you change this, it will change the name of the application on the mobile phone or like Android phone. Similar things are there for the iOS. In iOS you will see this is the project file XC workspace. I think it uses the pods for Flutter. So if you are familiar with the iOS, then only it will make sense for you, otherwise you will have to learn about the iOS programming. So these are the files which are getting generated, and this is the main file where your code will get an entry for the iOS. So from here you can see this is returning an application object, and this is the main method for iOS. So from here it will start running. Okay, I can close all the files except this, and now we will go through this full file. So I will remove all the comments so that it will be less clutter here, and you will be able to understand it better. This is the all code generated automatically. So like in the Dart, I explain you every application is having an entry point called main. Okay, so here also we are having a main method. Wait a minute. Yeah, so here you see the main method, that's what we were having in the Dart application. So Flutter is based on Dart, it is using all the Dart syntax, and you see we are using a material.dart file. This file will make sure your application will look like a Android application. We can change it to Cupertino, and then it will look like an iPhone application. Okay, I am not changing anything, I will just show you if I am running this what will happen. So I will show you my phone. And my phone is up here, and you can see this phone. Right, so we are just running this here. One good part for Flutter is that even if you are not having an Android phone, you can still run in the Chrome. So there is no dependency on the mobile phone while development, and all the things will work apart from certain things. For example, camera may not work. If camera may work if you are having a camera in your PC or desktop. Calls will not work, SMS will not work. So whatever is related to your mobile phone will not work, otherwise everything else will work. So while building it for the first time, it take couple of minutes to build it, depending on your hardware of your PC or sorry, or the Mac. But once it builds, you don't need to run it again and again. You can change the code at the runtime. Okay, okay, so I am having this Android phone, and I am using a tool that can export my phone screen onto the desktop. So there are different tool. For example, there is a tool called Visor, VYSOR. So you can export, or you can use TeamViewer that can export from your mobile to your desktop. Okay. So it's nothing more than a remote control for your Android phone. Yeah, it supports both data cable as well as Wi-Fi. Okay. Yeah, so nowadays Wi-Fi is also supported. Otherwise, you can configure using ADB. In that, there are options to connect. First, you have to connect via USB. Then you enable the TCP/IP connection, and then you can remove the USB, and it will work on the Wi-Fi also. Okay. So we run this application, and now you are seeing on the right side. So what is the mobile app that it has given to us? First thing you will notice, there is a debug written on the top. Okay. So Flutter runs in two mode. One is like debug, and other one is the release mode. In debug mode, it runs little slow because every code is open for debugging. Okay. In the release mode, it will run very fast and your application size will be small. So that is the basic difference in debug and release mode in Flutter. In Android, it is a different thing, in iOS it is different thing, but from Flutter perspective, this is what it is. So on top you see this blue, dark blue on the top, it is called status bar, where you see the status like time, then my phone signal, Wi-Fi signal, battery. This is called status bar. Then you see the another where Flutter demo homepage is written. This is called app bar. Okay, and you have this full application space, and the bottom you see this plus button. It is called Fab Action button. Okay. This was introduced, I think, with the material design, that they call it as a Fab Action. Basically, it's a floating action button, and you see it's floating. Why you can place it anywhere, and once you are clicking on this, it's changing this number. This is the basic application that Flutter will give it to you. Now I will show you, if you are changing this code, this screen will update automatically without running the application again, and that is the beauty of Flutter. You cannot do the same thing in Android or iOS if you are doing a native application. Now here you see the Flutter demo. On top you see Flutter demo homepage. I am just changing it to only say my first app, and I am just saving it. To save it, I can click on here on the top left, and as soon as I say I saved it, it says reloaded on one of 548 libraries in this. And once we do this, it should sync it here somewhere. I can't see it. It happens sometime. Maybe I have to click on this Flutter hot reload, and then we'll see title is getting changed. No, it is not getting changed. Okay, because this title is not that it is using this one. So I will copy paste this here, and I will simply save it, and now you see this has got changed here. Other way to tell like this, here there will be somewhere we will be defining the colors. Okay, before we go into that, I will show you what it is here. So from the main, what is the entry point is the run app. In the run app, we are passing an object of my app. Okay, and what is my app? My app is a class, and I will come back on this what is a stateless widget. But if you see in this, it's calling this section first. In this section you see the theme data, and here we are defining what is the theme. So instead of blue theme, I say I want a red theme. Okay, and I just simply save it from here, and it should change to this, everything become red. You see, this is like basic thing that you should be knowing when you want to change the color and other stuff on that. Now how many parts of this file is there? One is this class, second is my home page, third one is my home page state. So there are three classes in this, and how they are related. So my main application is calling my app, and my app is a stateless widget in a. So what is a stateless widget? So stateless widget is a, in Flutter everything is a widget, whatever you see is a widget. Okay, so stateless widget is a widget whose value will not change. Once it gets a value, it will not change. For example, we are giving a value of say red for theme, so this theme will not get changed. Then we are providing a title, this title will not get changed at the runtime. Once you set it, it is fixed. Now, but here thing is that when we want to click on this button and this number is changing, now we cannot change the whole applications, but we wanted to change this number. So what we did is that we provided another widget here, this my home with the name called my home page, and this my home page is a stateful widget. Stateful widget is a widget in which we can change the values. Okay, what I could have done here is that I could remove this, and maybe I can say simply text, and in this I can say hello world, and this will change my this button and this thing, because I am just passing on hello world as the text, and if I save it, it will change everything. Now you can see how it is looking like. Okay, and why it is? Because again this text is a stateless widget, and which we can't change it once we give it. So this is how you can change the UI. Okay, I will revert this and I just sync it again. It's we are back to normal. Now in the stateful widget, because it's a stateful, we need to maintain its state. For that it need another class called state class. Okay, and this state class will define when to rebuild this whole application. So whenever you are changing anything in this widget, it will reload everything. So for example, in this we are having a counter variable that we are changing by calling this method increment counter, and when we are calling this, if you see on the bottom there is a button, floating action button, in that on press of this button we are calling a method increment counter, and this counter is calling incrementing this value, and then we are calling set state. This, if we don't call this, this whole widget will not reload. So whenever you want to reload the whole widget, you have to call this method set state, and this is a function call, and we call it as a, sometime we call it as a lambda, because it is not having any name. This is another function call which is incrementing the counter value. Okay, and this you can read about what is scaffold, app bar. I told you what is the app bar. In the app bar you have title that you are passing on like this. So now I will explain you about, let me think about this, what we had covered in this, and then we'll see what to see the next. So I show you about the Flutter setup in Android Studio. You can use Visual Studio Code. Okay, so one thing I missed here after the Flutter setup. So you might have some problem in the setting of your Flutter. There are lots of problems comes in. So you can go to this terminal, or you can go to direct this terminal of your system, or in your Windows you are having command prompt. Okay, you can write a command called flutter doctor, and this will tell you about your Flutter status. Sometime you will get a problem, so this utility called flutter doctor will detect any problem and will tell you what is the problem with your Flutter. So for me it's checking what is the version of Flutter I am using, and other status it will tell. So this is very important command that you have to remember, and you might use this very often because Flutter version keep on changing. So you see here the channel, right? This channel is a stable channel, so you can have a nightly build channel where it will change very often. Every time Flutter is changing, they will put it there, and you, if you want to use it, you can use it. Okay, like that. For me, it is saying Cocoa Pods not installed. This Cocoa Pods we use for iOS development, so I don't need it right now. In Android Studio version, it's saying unable to find bundled Java version, but I am using a different Java other than the inbuilt one. So I say Java version, and this is my Java version that I am using, and this Flutter is not able to find, but that is again not a problem. And it is saying I have two devices connected. Okay, so using this Flutter Doctor, you can find out what all the problems. Sometime you will have a license problem because Android Studio has a lots of licensing thing with every SDK. So that is a very common problem that you will get. Other problem you get is related to Java. If Java is not set properly, you will get a problem in building your Flutter application. You can use my Telegram group where you can write if you get any problem in that. Okay. Now we'll come back to this and we'll build our own classes here. So in this for home page, I will, yeah. Okay, this run app is provided by the Flutter. So that is the comes with Flutter SDK. If you come on this, you are saying it is defined in this binding.dart file. From there, this is a method that returns void and it take a widget. And this widget can be anything that you want to render on the screen. So this is the entry point for Flutter. This is the entry point for Dart. So Flutter is not a language. Flutter is a package written in Dart. Okay. So Flutter is there. You can write your own package and provide it. So everybody can use it. Okay. So everybody define their own thing. So Flutter is defined. Okay. I will be started by calling the run app method. You can see Flutter is again open source thing. You can go inside and see what it is doing. So it is doing all the Flutter things initialization here, like that. Okay, got it. So now this is where you are entering into your application, and what you call is that we can change this part and say we don't need all those things, but and in the center I don't need all the buttons. Okay, and I don't need this also. So in the body I can pass text, and this is body, and if I save it, this will be very simple application that you can see, right? You can see my app body. This whole screen is available for you now. So what we change is that we can create our own class with any name. Here we are calling my home page with a stateful widget, and then we can do whatever we want to do inside this. Now this is again, everything is a widget in Flutter, so text is also a widget. Now I want to center this text, so I think I can say center like this, and maybe like this. Not sure if it works like this. We'll have to see how it was written. So you don't need to remember anything. Every time you are writing a code, you remember Google is there or your ID is there to help you out. So don't try to remember anything, but only remember that you want to do some logic and you need to remember only your logic. Okay, here if I delete this and I can write here text my home, and this should come in the center. I don't need this action button. Is that anything else we are missing? Yeah, so my home has come in the center. Okay, now you see this is a child widget for the body. Now I want to add one more button to this. So there is a different kind of things are there available here. So we can say column, and I think in the column again there may be a children. Okay, in children you can again put a text and same thing, what was that, home, my home, and now I save it. You see my home has gone on the top. And what else I can do, I wanted to put a button below my this thing. So to put a button you can use, I think, raised button. Okay, it is saying raised button has been deprecated, so but still we can use. So I can write like this, on pressed, and then will be a text, I guess, text button. It asks for a method, yes, and then like this, and if I save it, you see a button here, and if on click of this, how do you write a log file here? Say in the log, I think we can just print log and say button pressed, and okay, so whenever we are pressing this button, we have to sync it, I think, first. And in the run tab, if I am clicking on the button, it will say button pressed because I have written here as a button pressed. Okay, I can change it names to click me and save it again, and it changed click me. I click on this like this. Now what is more important apart from this? You know the button is there. Now say I want to take a input. So what we need for input? This was a text. So after text I can say please enter your name here. So we can use, I think, text edit, maybe like this. So you can press Control and space to see whatever things are available for you. So text edit controller is there, that I don't know how to use it, but let's see here, hello, like this. So this also I can't remember how to use it, but like this. Okay, so it is not like this. So it works like this. We have to create a edit text controller somewhere here. Text edit editing controller, will say controller. Not sure, we'll have to search for this. So whenever you are in doubt, you can search here, say edit text controller Flutter. You will reach to flutter.dev file or API, and then you click on that, and there you will find an example. So you can see here sample code and how it is defined here. So in this we can use the text form field for taking the input. In the text form field, then you have to provide a controller, and this is just a design. So we can copy this from here, and then we can put it here after my home. So what is needs? It needs one controller. We'll go back and we'll copy for the controller. So controller is this one that you have to copy and paste it here where we were trying. It should be here only. Okay, and what else we are getting the problem? Controller text form field is not completed, looks like. Yeah, right. So this is completed, and then we are having a rest button, and if I save it, it should show here. Now you can see this, we can edit the name here, right, like this, and once you click on this, we can see what is coming from there. And how do we see? In the log press button pressed, we'll say, we can say what is input is, and then we can say, I think dollar underscore controller dot something should be there in this text, or maybe we'll just try to put it, or maybe that value. Not sure if this works, but I'm just trying it out. Yeah, it may work. Yes, so whatever we entered here, after clicking in, it's printing it here. The input is value. Oh, not value, this should be something else, maybe like text. So this is the value that you want to get from here after saving it. So to build an application, what you need to understand? You need to understand how you can display the anything that you want to display on the screen. Second thing is that how you can take an input from the user, right? Say today is Saturday, and you click on this, and it should come like this. So this is the input that we took. Now third thing is that if I want to manipulate this thing, say whatever is coming, I want to convert it to uppercase, and then only I want to print it. So there will be a method that can convert it to uppercase. So we can say var upper, and then we can use controller text to uppercase, and I want to print only this here, and whenever I will save run this and I click on this, whatever is printing in uppercase. Okay, so you are able to manipulate whatever is coming. You are able to process by clicking on this, and now you have seen three controls. One is like text control, other one is edit text control, and third one is the button. So these are the main important thing. Apart from this, what you can have is that this was a text field, right? This button. So you can have a radio button, you can have a checkbox, you can have a switch, slider. I will show you what all these things are. So we will go back to flutter.dev, and in the search you will search for radio button. And when do you use a radio button? So radio button you will use when you want to give an option. So you remember there are polls in our Telegram, which you can select only one option. So if you want to have only one option, then you will use the radio button, here where is the radio button, UI widget, and maybe we can go to basic. So text we have seen, maybe advanced UI, silver, here it is showing. Let's see if that is buttons. Drop down button that comes from here, elevated button, floating action button that we had seen, icon button with the icons, outline button, this is the outline button, pop-up menu you can create, text button, this is the radio button. You see, you want to give a choice to the user, say select one of them. In the interactive app you can see, I think we can run it. See, there are two options here. Where it went? Looks like there is some problem with this code. No, it's coming. So two options are there. At a time you can click only one. For example, say you want to create a quiz application. In quiz, say what is the capital of India, and you want to give four options like Mumbai, New Delhi, Chennai, Kolkata, and say once you click on the correct option, you will say yes, this is the correct option. Then you will be using a radio button. There is another very good control is there, that is called checkbox. It's not clicking here. Here you can search for checkbox. Checkbox you will be using when you need to have multiple selections. Say you want to create a puzzle, in that you want to say select all the options which satisfy this. For example, say which city is having petrol pump, you will say all the options are correct, right? Then you will have to select all the options like these check boxes. Right? So let's build something and then we'll show you something. Before we build any logic, I wanted to show you this. What you are seeing is on the Android phone. If you want to run the same thing without the phone, then you can run whole this thing on the browser itself. From here you select on the Chrome web. Okay, you will have to stop it because currently it's connected to phone. Then you say run it, and it should be able to run the same code in the browser. And that is the beauty of Flutter, that you write it once, you can run it anywhere. You can run the same on the iOS as well, but I will have to set up the whole thing. Let's see where it is running. It might be running on my different monitor. Just trying to see if it is running. Here where it went. Is it running? Not yet running. It's still building. You can see, waiting for connection from debug. Now it runs. So you see here this application is coming. So the same thing is running on web also. So you have to build only one time, and same, this is input text, and I click on this, it will run here. To run this you don't need any kind of phone, you can run in the browser, and same UI will appear here as well. And you can change the same way what you are doing, from like red to green or any other color, and just save it it will reflect here like this. So now let's build something that we can use. Say we will be rendering say 4 options, and on click of the right option we will say it is a correct option. Okay, so I will delete all the things from here in this input. From here I will get the code for radio button from here. Here only it was there, right? Radio, this one. Alright, so here how do we define? We have to define singing character. They have defined like 2. Okay, we will define an option in our code here. I will delete this as well like this. Here we I think enum need to be defined outside the class. So we'll say my options, and we can say here New Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata and Chennai. These are the 4 options, and how do we use them? We can define like inside the widget we have list tile that you have to use like this. For every radio button you have to say a list tile. I'm not, so let's copy paste and then see. Before the raise button I will copy paste this whole thing, and what we have defined, my choice, my options. Define this, my options, New Delhi, and we can define this first. I just wanted to see so building the UI is the important part that you will have to see while a mobile development, and that is what the user will see when they are using your application, right? Can it be like this? No. Okay, we'll use like this, my options, and what is this? Yes, here. What was this one? My my options, and the first option, this is the second option, and this we can say Mumbai. And currently I am not using this on this thing, and then we'll see. So 2 options, if I save it, it should reflect here somewhere. If it is, there are no issues, I see there are issues, and you will see it here. So what are the issues? This is this one, and after this it needs to complete this, and right, yeah. If your code is crashing, it will show you there. And now this is the text that is appearing from here. New Delhi, Mumbai, and we can copy paste the whole thing again. Chennai and Kolkata. So what we are trying to do is that we are trying to show these options, and once you select them, it should be able to identify which one you have selected. So I saved it, and here you can see all the 4 items are coming. And before that, I wanted to show a question text, which city is capital of India, like this. And now you can see here. So you can decide, have multiple questions and create like this, and create a quiz application. I think that will be the assignment for you for this week, to create a quiz application. Now only one item you can select, but because we have not given the on click option, so you can't change it. So this feature you will use after a user select this and say submit. To enable the clickable option, I think we have to provide this, okay, on change. So if we go here and we write here from the first on change, and this is my option, and this is not a question mark because all values are fixed. Then all the options should be selectable one by one. So this is how you will be doing it. 2, 3 and one more 4. Now we save it, and we can see they are enabled, which you can modify. Right now what we need to do, on click of this, I want to see which option has been selected, so that we can see it's a correct or not correct. So here we will just log it, log is small log, log, and we can say selected option is, and dollar, what is the value here, underscore character, and this I saved it, failed. It says log is not there because it has to import. So my smart import optimization is enabled, so as soon as it don't need any import, it will delete it from my code. You can disable that from your thing. So if I click on Kolkata, I click me, it's saying Kolkata is selected. Now once we know the answer, and if we say if character is not equal to my options dot New Delhi, then we can say it's a wrong, right? So we can say log answer is wrong, else you can say right answer. Right. So this is the logic that you are putting, and some we call it as a business logic. Rest everything is UI manipulation. So I click on Chennai, I click me, and it says answer is wrong. And if I select on the New Delhi and say click, it says answer is right. Now what is the second thing that we want to do? If you select a wrong answer and click it here, we may want to display a some kind of notification to the user that we want to render something, whether your answer is right or wrong, because whatever you are seeing in the log, that log is not visible to user. This is visible to only for developers, right? So how will you do that? So there is another component called snack bar that we can use. Let me write some code for that snack bar. So to create a snack bar, we need to have a snack bar control that we can define here near this thing. Before snack bar will require you to have, where is our widget? Actually widget is here, I think. So here itself we will have to define. So in this, something called global key is there, and that we can use for our snack bar. So it required you to have we are using, I think, what we are using, my app is coming from material app in the home page. Okay, we are using this scaffold. So scaffold will have a state, I think, in this one, and this I can say maybe final. Final is that once I defined it should not be modifiable, so I will say global key, and then I can define global key like this, and in this I can pass scaffold state, and it should work, I guess. Yeah, so this I am doing, and that second part that I have to set up this, and that setup I can do in the constructor of not constructor here, actually in the build part, because everything when we are doing this we have to initialize the values. So whenever we are creating a scaffold, it has internal key, and that key I will be saying this is my global key. Okay, and using this global key I should be able to, what we were doing, okay, we were defining the global key here, and in the global key I will say I want to show some snack bar, so I will create a function, say void show notification, and write this global key dot current state dot so snack bar. I think that is also duplicated, I guess. No, let's see, snack bar, what it provide, content is like hello, that's I wanted to. Okay, it needs something more, wrap in a text. So this ID is very intelligent. Whenever you're writing, it will tell you what to do, what not to do, I think. Yeah, and this show notification we can call from on click, I guess, here. So after state change I can call show notification like this, and we'll see it. save it and restart it. Click. Do you see anything? No, I can't see it. So we'll have to see, debug it, what is the problem. My system is stucking, so that is the problem. It's taking some time for me to do. So now we have the snack bar that we want to use, and that should be able to show. So maybe I should just copy paste this and we'll see the sample. That is the easiest way. Here we can search snack bar, display snack bar. So whenever you get stuck, you can come to this flutter.dev website and then see how to do the stuff. Okay, and snack bar you can define like this, and then how do you use this? You can use like this also actually. Where we are here. No, but it will require a different thing for you to use, because you will not have a context always. So to have a context always, we need to use this method only. That's what we are doing. And so snack bar, we are calling this, we are providing the content, and then we are providing the text that we need to show. So I'm just thinking over it, like what is the mistake that we have done, and once we do this, and then we have to use how to call it. So to call it, I'm just checking it out what you should be calling it, and I think you can directly call. That's what we are doing. Maybe let me see it one more time, what is happening. This is there, and we'll see if it is coming or here or not. So I will show you how to debug it. So on click, you can put a breakpoint here, you can stop, and then you may be calling this. There may be a reason that snack bar is not coming, because it is on, we are trying it on the web, and whereas we should be trying it on the mobile. Let's see if it's working here. Okay, I'm just compiling it, it's waiting for this thing, and then we'll see where it went. It's still loading. We can, meanwhile we can see here it's working here, but problem, there is no problem. Snack bar, where it has defined the snack bar, it has define. Yeah, here it is, they have defined the snack bar like this. So we might need to do this into our on click button. We go on to on press, we define our own snack bar, and we can define actually downside of this, and I will put this on the top here and have a variable where correct answer equal to false, and here if it is equal to New Delhi, we'll say correct answer is true, and then we don't need this else condition. And here we can change here, if correct answer, then yeah, you got it right, else I will just copy it again, and we say no, you failed, right? So this label is not required here. I think we don't need any button action. This you can remove. Content is there, only we created again. What is this one? Snack bar, that is enough. This one, and then we delete this. So our snack bar is created, and I have to just copy this from here to there, and then it should work like this, and I save it. Okay, so still it's not able to run. I think some problem with my Windows, not Windows but Chrome. I will run it on my phone, and then you can see it directly on the phone. Now these are some shortcuts that I have set up into my Mac, so I can easily execute them. Now I will stop this, run this, and you will see it here. So using this logic you can create your own full-fledged application of the, say, quiz application, and at the end of the quiz you can show how the user can after quiz you can store the result in local database and say how many times you are succeeded or how many times you have failed. Okay, still application is running. Why my application, this is running very slow, not sure what is happening. Chrome itself is taking too much time. Okay, these Android Studios or any other these development tools always take all the CPU's RAM, right? Yeah, so this is the application. Now I select Kolkata, click on this, it says no, you failed. If I click on New Delhi and I say click, yes, you got it right. So maybe on click me you can change this also, like click me, say answer, and save it. So this is your like first question, and you can define these questions into a array list or list, and then maybe iterate over that one by one. You can show it, and you can maintain a counter that will be taking count of right answers and the wrong answers, and after you give all the answers you can say what is your score, right? So I hope I have given you an overview of the Flutter application that you want to build. So this directly can run on your phone, but you can't release it yet. For releasing I will be taking another class where you can release your application and share with your friends. This also you can share with your friends. So to make an APK you go on the build folder, and from there in the Flutter you can say build APK. On the top you can see, and once you click on this it will generate an APK that you can share with your friends. Okay, but that will be your debug build. Debug build, people can see inside your APK what is the code that you have written. Okay, so normally when we upload it to Play Store we make a release build rather than a debug build. Okay, all right, I hope you enjoyed this session, and now in this week you will create a good application and share with me so that I can check, and if you are facing any problem you can connect with me. All right, so I hope this were more enjoyable than the previous one, because now you can write your own application, right? So yeah, so this I have explained you only the basic things. There are thousands of other things that you may need it, but because if I give you everything in one session, you may forget. So that's why I am giving you very small thing in a very small steps, so that you keep remembering and start developing your own application. More practice you do, more you will learn. Okay, that is the reason I am giving you assignment every week. This is for you only, that you keep practicing, because programming is something that you cannot learn overnight, or you cannot be a master overnight. Okay, you have to practice a lot to make this application installation, then compilation, then running itself. Many people will face different kind of problems. So if you are getting any problem, you can ping me, I will be able to help you. Okay, yeah, okay, so thank you. And if you are liking my videos, then you can subscribe to my channel on YouTube and like them and share with your friends. Okay, yeah, okay, thank you, yeah, bye bye.